Hello and welcome to How to Choose Love. I'm your host, Diane Haworth, and this is the show where we bring you tips, tools, techniques, ways for you to bring the consciousness of love to your everyday life. And I've got somebody who's going to help us with that today. Welcome, Linda Connors. How are you?
Oh, thank you, Diane, for having me today. It's so wonderful to be here, and it's really exciting to share this space with you.
Linda is, she's one of my best buddies. She is Australian. And then you went to the UK, how many years ago?
20 or so years ago.
Okay, so more than a minute, and now you're in Glastonbury.
Yes, in Somerset, UK.
So you are coming to us from the land of King Arthur.
Yes.
How perfect.
The heart chakra of the world.
Oh, and that's exactly perfect for Linda. Linda is a joyful life coach. She writes beautiful poetry. She's a speaker. She and I know each other through masterminds. We've actually been in the same masterminds. And guess what we were studying? How to bring love to our everyday lives, to our clients. It's just something that we are both really passionate about. And Linda, thank you so much for taking this time to talk to us today, because I'm just really thrilled.
Thank you for having me, Diane.
So let's start off here. When did you first become aware that you were consciously deciding to choose love in your life? What were you doing? What was going on? And how did you choose love?
I think it was around, I've been on a journey of love for over 10 years. Before that, I was trying to improve myself without self-love. I was trying to heal the ego. And so 10 years I've been on that journey. And really about 3 years ago, that journey really changed for me through my writing of poetry. For me, poetry is when I kind of write for myself. It's my expression of love and the love that I seek, and how love speaks to me through the words that flow through.
What is amazing to me, dear friend, is that I've watched you evolve. We watched each other evolve, quite frankly. And sitting in classes with you in person when we were in gatherings, you're not the most boisterous one, right? And for you to, I remember exactly, we were in a meeting and you said, hey, this poem came to me, can I share it? And we were all like, our mouths dropped to the ground. It is the most, it's angelic as far as I'm concerned. And I have to be very honest, I'm not someone that thinks of herself as necessarily a poetry lover. And you said really until a few years ago, it wasn't like you got up and read poetry every day either.
No, poetry's never really landed for me. And it's poetry found me. I did not go and seek poetry. I did not go and set out to write. I am dyslexic. So, and yeah, I'm quiet, I'm shy, I'm an introvert.
And funny, by the way.
and I read somewhere that when an introvert becomes really passionate about something, that's when they begin to show up. And I think my poetry is helping me show up more in the world. It's giving me the courage.
That is a beautiful word right there. And I shared with you privately, and I'm happy to share with our audience here today. I actually used your poetry to kick off my private mastermind class. And one of the things that we're looking at in my mastermind group that I'm shepherding is mystics, and how love comes through certain people as poetry. And one of the things that I've watched with you, it's not that I didn't think of you as a happy person before, but there's this, it's like joy bubbles up through you now. especially in some of the beautiful pictures you take at the Chalice Well or on the tour there in Glastonbury, and then this magnificent poetry that comes through. Would you, how does that played into it? How has where you are geographically and where you are on your life journey, how has all that come together for you right now?
Glastonbury is a wonderful, wacky, weird, joyful place. And, you know, when you speak to people in Glastonbury and they ask you or you ask them, why are you here? And people tend to say the same answer. I was called to Glastonbury. And I've moved here well over 12 months ago now. And I feel I was called here to really undo, to really shred some things that needed to be shredded deep in my inner landscape that doesn't have any words. And so I spend a lot of my time walking to the Tor, which is an ancient landscape with St. Michael's Tower on the top, which is 600, 700 years old. And apparently there was a pagan building there before that, which was much, much older, or to the Chalice Well, or to the Abbey Gardens. And the land here is very sacred, lots of ley lines. And it's a place that speaks to you through the landscape. And it's a place for me that really connects with my heart and really allows me to trust this undoing, this unfolding that's happening.
So I love the way you say that it called you, the way poetry's called you. When you're working with your clients, helping them find their own joy, how does that work? How do you help people, or what suggestions do you have for them and for the people who are listening to this today, actually, on how to listen to that calling so that your own inner joy can come up? Because not all of us get to be in Glastonbury, but of course we're not all supposed to be there.
Yeah, it's, I share to my clients that to experience an authentic, joyful life, and the process I've developed is about entering the 6 doors of authentic joy, which is acceptance, courage, untamed heart, wild love, sacred success, and also unlimited wholeness. And so the first step is always acceptance.
So leading people through this process helps them, would you say it helps them unfold, blossom?
It helps them undo.
I like that better.
Yeah. And shred. And also just to accept rather than fighting our emotions or what's happened in the past, but come to a place of this beautiful, sacred acceptance of all that is, that there's no negative or positive. It's how we choose to experience it. And, you know, and of course, some people have trauma, and to come to that place of acceptance, they do need to do some work around that trauma beforehand, of course, absolutely. But through acceptance, I think we create space for joy to come through, or the next stage of entering the authentic joy, sacred space that really dwells within all of us. But it's just really about learning how to connect with it.
It's almost like that secret room that you kind of hear it's there, but you have just never looked for it. And even if you found it, some of us don't open the door. So your work is all about just peeling back those layers that keep us from our authentic joy. Is that correct?
Yes, I really like that, that energy of that secret room, because to enter that secret room, it's learning to accept that this is not who I am, that there's a sacred truth beyond this physical realm of who I truly am. And for me to come to that point on my journey of love took a great deal of courage, I can tell you, as you witness my journey, Diane. Yeah.
Well, and it's not something that I don't know how you were raised in Australia and what you did in the UK before we met, but I can tell you, growing up here in the United States, we did not have joy classes. There wasn't, that wasn't that wasn't on the syllabus. That it just wasn't there. So this idea of your most perfect self, the essence of who you are, which Linda, you and I have both talked about, love, the divine love, wisdom, intelligence inside. It is the energy of joy, of bliss. But I know for myself, I really do feel it's behind that secret door. It has been. I've cracked the door a couple times now, but it's like, I know it's there. I hear it's there. I know I'm getting closer. Oh man, today I found it. That doesn't mean I might not find myself in the hall tomorrow, but it's just knowing it's there, to me, is just so peaceful, just to know it's there. Even if I can't get there today, I know it's there. And that's part of us choosing love. When you were talking about courage, I really, really love that idea, because it is courageous to go outside of what you know to be true. And I don't think people often equate that with choosing love, but I actually think it's a huge part of choosing love. Can you speak about that for a minute?
Yeah, courage and choosing love. Yeah. Speaking of my own journey, for many years, I did not like myself and had many stories that I told myself. I had many stories about how I thought other people seen me as well. And it took up so much energy. And it takes great courage to walk through those stories and say, today is the day that I'm going to lay you on the altar and surrender you to all that is, so that I can begin to choose love. And for me, choosing love, I wrote in one of my pieces of poetry, it's a never-ending story. We are a never-ending love story, because as we go through we go through different stages of life, there's always an invitation to love ourselves more and to love each other more as well.
I love the idea that there's a gentle beckoning. I just see this beautiful divine love as just a gentle beckoning. Come deeper, come closer. Come know me more fully. And that, to me, is where a lot of that joy comes from. Would this be a good time maybe to share one of your poems? Because I would love for everybody to hear just how beautiful these are. And again, I just want to remind people, you were telling us this comes through you. You don't sit down and go, I need to write a poem about a flower today. No, that's not how it works, is it?
No, and my partner is used to me, I can't speak yet, something's coming through. I need to write. It comes at the most unexpected times. And this, what I'm going to share with you, came to me when I was sitting at the Chalice Well in beautiful Glastonbury. And the well there has been used for over 2,000 years. And as drinking water, as healing water as well. And I was sitting on my favorite seat, just looking at these beautiful wildflowers, and also the gardener there, treating the wildflowers with so much love as well. It's called replenishment. Let go of the need to force success. Just rest here, where the wildflowers grow. Lay down with them and witness their perfection of singing to the sun and then swimming deep down into the dark. Listen to their songs of joy as the bumblebee visits, or the butterfly, or how they meet the wind with wonderment and grace, even if it means losing a petal, for they know they are attuned to the cycles of the seasons. What they lose today will be replenished by the creative intelligence of the holy sacred.
I can barely speak. I love to listen to you read and let the words just wash over me. And I can assure all of you at home, that's not the way she speaks, okay? If we're just going out to dinner, if we're just having a Zoom call, that's pretty much not the way my buddy speaks. So for this beautiful, vibrant, there's such a vibrant, joyful energy to your poems, I think. To me, that is just such a testament to, first of all, your willingness to allow love to speak through you. That takes courage.
Yeah, and when I wrote that, or actually typed it on my phone very quickly in WhatsApp, just this wave of emotion comes over me. Like whenever I write anything, even my poetry, a wave of emotion comes over me, and it feels like there's the breath of love. And sometimes, and it takes, for me, it takes great courage to sit with that breath of love, because there's still a part of me that feels unworthy of love. I'm unworthy of my own love, the divine love. And to be able to sit with that breath of love that becomes the words that flow through me, takes courage to open my heart to receive that.
And it also takes courage to share it. So I think there's probably many people, maybe many people watching us right now, who have had ideas. Maybe they come through as poems, maybe it's pieces of art, maybe it's in recipes, it could be anything. Anything that's creative and expansive to me is divine. And even though they recognize it as coming from outside of themselves, that takes courage to share it as you are guided to do. So I just want to tell you, my friend, I really appreciate the fact that you not only said yes to love and chose to allow yourself to be used this way, but that you have the courage to share it with so many people who love your work. I know people all over the planet love Linda Connor's poetry. And I really appreciate the fact that you share it.
Thank you, Diane. It's been an amazing journey, and it's kind of my autobiography as well, because it's my path, my journey.
Would you say this opening yourself to love, choosing love, having the courage, right, to choose love, that's helped guide you on this coaching program that you now offer in that specific process that you offer?
Yes. I decided beginning of the year to close down one coaching business. And I wasn't quite sure what direction I was going to go in, but I just trusted. I felt something calling to me, or something was waiting for me. I just trusted that it was going to open itself to me. And that takes love and courage to have that faith, and to take the risk as well, because the more I take risk, the more I get to know myself, the more I get to love myself, and the more I get to love the divine as well. And I was out in these ancient woods, not thinking about what I was going to do. And it was offered to me, it was downloaded down through me. Just joyful life coaching, Linda. Creating the life that you absolutely love by entering the 6 portals of authentic joy. And then it gave me those 6 doorways. And it was like, oh, thank you. And I was surprised, but I knew that having trust in this slowing down and love, rather than forcing myself to choose something, rather than forcing myself to go out there, to wait for the time that I was ready.
Because we're never ready, are we?
No. There'll always be excuses.
Yeah, no, my website's not ready. I don't know how to use this program. We're never ready. Now, as coaches, the thing that I think is really interesting is just listening to you talk about that, right? There were so many subtle ways that you were choosing love, having that time in nature, and you're blessed to be where you are. But if somebody doesn't live there, going to take a walk in the park, even sitting, meditating at home, go in your backyard. I have pictures of nature around when I can't be in there. But being still is a way to let love, not only way to choose love, but to let love find you. I love the way that you were talking about being open to receiving that download. So when you are in that way, let me ask it this way. What kinds of practices do you think prepared you to be able to receive the poetry, receive the guidance that you're getting now? So you've obviously been studying about love. We're on these masterminds together with our mentor, Robert Holden. What specifically would you suggest people start to do if this is new to them?
Yeah, I meditate. I have a little altar, and I have a ritual in the morning. I have a very Celtic heart, so rituals are very important in the Celtic spirituality. Yep. So I light my candles. I have an intention when I meditate, and then I have a book by me, and I just ask love, what do you want me to know today? Or sometimes it just comes through me. So I think having space, having quiet time, solitude is really important, whether it's out walking or meditating or just watching a candle burn, the flames. There's something I think really powerful in that. And it's so simple that we sometimes, I know I have in the past looked for more complicated things. But coming back down just to the simple practices and the breath for me is really important.
Yeah. I think that if I'm hearing you correctly, one of the main things you're doing is simply showing up every day. You're showing up every day and saying, here I am. You're journaling, you're meditating. I think my entire life changed when I learned to meditate. And it does not have to be as complicated as some people, if they're new meditators, might think. Here on the Awake TV network, there are meditations, free meditations all over the place, and you can certainly find out how to do that. But boy, that is the one thing that really helps stop the voice of my ego, the voice that said, what are you doing? This is crazy. Nobody's going to listen to you. You need to stop. And spending time in nature is another one of those that just helps me get out of the head space and into the heart space. I think that's super important. And I know for someone to find joy, you think it comes from here. I think it comes from here.
We're never going to never going to live joy by thinking about it.
Oh, y'all should make the t-shirt out of that. We are never going to live joy by thinking about it. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And I don't know that you've ever said anything more true. You can't think your way into joy. I do know there are people who will focus on the intentions of your thoughts, and I'm all for that. We're not saying don't do that. But if you just are in a terrible mood, you're upset, and you're just going, joy, joy, joy. That's not the way it's going to happen. That's not the way it's going to happen. No. But opening the heart to be guided helps you with the thoughts, I've found. Do you find that as well?
Absolutely. And through the opening of the heart, through acceptance that, do you know what? Today is just one of those days where joy's there, but I may not experience it, and it's okay. What can I do for myself? That's the most loving thing I can do today. And Diane, there's just something I want to add from before. it feels really important to share
Please.
this. And, you know, I always get nervous about sharing my poetry, whether I'm at a poetry reading, whether I'm sharing to my Facebook group page or my Instagram page, whether I'm doing a video for them. And sometimes I think this is not very good. I'm not going to share it. But there's this voice that says, share it. And when I share it, I get more likes and comments and personal messages of how it's touched people than the pieces of poetry that I wrote that I thought, my ego thought was really good. So, you know, just sharing, even when we feel uncomfortable, I think is a beautiful gift.
I agree. And I also think that when something comes through us, we don't know who it's for. We don't know who it's for. Yeah, we don't know who it's for. So I'm just so appreciative of your willingness to show up, your courage to share when it's maybe not comfortable to do so. And I know it's certainly more comfortable now than it used to be, but it's just the most beautiful work. I enjoy it. I share it as much as I can, really, anytime I'm doing a live event. And we're going to talk in a minute about how people can get a gift of poetry from you if they're interested. Before we do that, is there another poem you'd like to share with us?
Yes. This is called "The Divine Beauty Has Been Etched in My Soul." And I wrote this on top of the tour one early morning as the sun was rising across the horizon. The divine beauty has been etched in my soul. Footprints of love enticing me to dance upon the sand of eternity, where the breeze breathes her grace upon this ancient temple, built upon the fabric of thousands of sun that became time itself as the dust fell upon the altar of life and the divine seed planted her beauty. And to appreciate this beauty that has been blessed before me, I must also have the courage to witness the beauty that is in my heart, for the divine beauty has been etched in my soul.
Well, there you go. There you go. What I also am so aware of since I have opened up to love is just the many ways love manifests. It doesn't always manifest as poetry like it has for you. I just had lunch here in my little town in Warrenton, Virginia, and I had a spinach wrap. And can I tell you, the gentleman that made that wrap had poured his heart and soul into it. He was so proud of his food. It just shone through. And I'm telling you, it even tastes, I swear, it tastes better when it's made with love. So as wonderful as it is to have something that we can share publicly, anytime you feed your cat, you smile at a neighbor, you hold the door for someone, you bring love into what you do, I think we're choosing love for ourselves and the world. How does that feel to you, Linda?
Oh, Diane, that just feels like music to my soul. Yeah, choosing love through a smile.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. And not every day do you feel like it. I love that you brought that up.
Yeah.
But even those days, we can recognize what's going on and say, you know, love, how do I show up in this space? In a space where I'm sad or I'm sick or I'm worried, or love is not just there on the days that you're sitting in front of the chalice well, or I'm eating a great spinach wrap, by the way. It's there all the time.
Yeah. And we don't need to be at these sacred spaces, as you said. You know, I've been in London and looked in a stranger's eyes and felt this beautiful connection of the heart that went beyond language in a busy London street where often people don't even look at you.
Yeah. What's really interesting to me is I do think there are spots everywhere actually, that have special meaning, historical meaning, places certainly where you are, people, when they are able to, travel there from all over the world. But every place we are, love is. Every place we are, love is. Love is in, is in everything, in every blade of grass, I think St. Francis said. To me, that is amazing. And I loved what you said about just staring at a candle. I have gone out, you know, in a little, there's a place I can walk here near my office. And I have actually had a very meaningful exchange with the bumblebee. It was incredible just to watch this little creature and realize, oh my goodness, look at the way this thing is constructed and look what he does every day. And just, you can be awestruck by the tiniest thing when you realize that's a unique expression of love. And I think a way to choose love is to recognize that.
That's beautiful, Diane. I kind of have this picture that there's this love architect somewhere that's designing these bumblebees just so that we can witness what love is.
There you go. There you go. And they put a lot of funny, cool stuff down in Australia, by the way. You all have some special ones down there. So tell us, before we have to get off, thank you again, obviously, for being on today and just for everything. But tell people how they can follow you, follow your work. I know you talked about a free gift, and I do want to tell you all, you have to follow this woman on Instagram. It's epic, actually.
Oh, and Diane, firstly, thank you so much for inviting me here today. It's always so special to share this time with you, and especially when your heart is just so full of love. So thank you. Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Linda Connors. You can find me there. I share my poetry and coaching. My website's lindaconnors.com. I also have a poetry ebook that's free, a free gift, From Chaos to Calm, which is perfect for our current times at the moment.
And anytime, actually. And we'll have that link actually in our episode description. So Linda, my beautiful friend, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your heart with us. Thank you for your beautiful poetry, for doing your part to help others learn to be more joyful. I thank you so much. And I thank you for all tuning in to How to Choose Love. I'm Diane Haworth. We'll be back next Wednesday, and I'll look for you then. Thanks.